Wait a second, just because a tree is dangerous doesn't mean that insurance will pay for it. In fact, that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear when doing storm work or having any sort of emergency happen where it damages your house. Now, I'm not an attorney, I'm not an adjuster, this isn't legal advice because every claim and policy and situation is different. But let's say you have a tree leaning over your house. Maybe it's cracked, maybe it's just hanging into another tree, or maybe you're just convinced it's going to fall tomorrow. Most people look at that and they think insurance should pay for that hazard. But that's not necessarily how it works, because in many situations, if no damage has occurred, a hazardous tree is still just a hazardous tree. Now let's look at a different scenario. A storm comes through and a tree uproots onto the house, the root ball lifts the fence section out of the ground, large limbs are hanging over the roof, branches are suspended in nearby trees, and this is where things start to get interesting, because a lot of people would look at that and call those things hazards, and they'd technically be right, but that may not be the reason why the work gets performed and paid for by insurance. Think about the root ball for a second. If the fence can't be repaired because it's sticking out of the ground and there's a fence 6 feet in the air, then that root ball needs to get removed or ground up in order to bring the property back to pre-loss condition. Same thing with branches over a roof. You can't repair a roof if there's an active hazard hanging over the roof. You can't take a tree off a roof, can't do anything. So that's why those hazards need to get taken care of so that the repairs can begin. And that's why sometimes insurance companies will pay for hazards, not necessarily just because they're hazards, but because it needs to be taken care of so that the work can commence. And that's a very different conversation than a tree that just simply looks dangerous before any damage has happened. So, the takeaway here is, don't ask, is this a hazard? Ask what work needs to be done and why does it need to be done? Because in many cases, that's the question that matters. If you want to be able to ask great questions like this and be able to understand the whole claims process from start to finish, check out billingsidekick.com. It is a platform that helps you add this to your business, add value to your clients, and add value to your entire system for managing storms. So come check it out and stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.